Hey everybody, this is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat here at Levi Stadium, where tonight the 49ers took down the Los Angeles Rams on Monday Night Football by a score of 24-9, taking them from the outhouse last week after that awful loss to Denver on Sunday night to the penthouse atop the NFC West by virtue of their victory tonight. Before we get started here on the show, just want to say this is just a really good victory for the 49ers. You look at this game tonight, I think this was probably their best performance of the season. And when you look at it, I know it might only be week 4, but this was a big win. Huge win for the 49ers, takes them over the top, moves them into first place, like I said, in the NFC West. Big game. And then, you look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He needed to have a bounce-back performance. He struggled mightily last week in Denver, bounced back from that with a really nice performance tonight. It was far from perfect, but it was exactly what the 49ers needed. I'm going to get to that as we go through this. Starting off, against Denver last week, like I said, it was rough for Garoppolo, but he came back. Last week, they weren't able to convert a third down until their final shot at it late in the game. Garoppolo tonight came out, converted 2 on the opening possession. Both of those on throws to Jauan Jennings. The first, a 10-yard completion to convert a 3rd and 9, and then came back on that a little bit later, converting on a 3rd and 5 on a 12-yard toss to Jennings. Really good drive there, and then that led into a score that put the 49ers up, gave them a lead that they wouldn't relinquish throughout the game. As happened in Denver, though, we did see Garoppolo miss on a couple of deep throws. He had Charlie Warner open down the left sideline, but his pass was off the mark, and the tight end was able to make the grab while he was twisting to get the ball. And then a couple of plays later, Garoppolo missed high to an open Jennings on an inside post route to end the 49ers' third possession of the game. On that play, Jennings that started from an interior inside in the slot area, ran a route in which he kind of headed out toward, kind of heads outside a little bit to kind of create some leverage, and then comes back up inside. He was wide open, and Garoppolo just put the ball a little too high over his head, and Jennings wasn't able to come down with it, and that ended the possession. But all in all told, when we look at Garoppolo's night, he ended up 16 of 27, 239 yards, and a touchdown. Now, when you look at it, there were a lot of those were yards after the catch, and that's one of the things that Garoppolo's done such a good job of here, and one of the things that guys like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk do such a good job of helping out Garoppolo with. The one touchdown that Garoppolo had tonight was a 52-yard touchdown completion to Deebo Samuel on a short in route that was almost intercepted. Samuel goes up, makes a great grab to start off with, and then from that point it's on, because Deebo Samuel in the open field, he's tough to bring down, and he takes it to the house for a touchdown. And really, at that point, that was a 14. Put the 49ers up by, had 14 points at that point. They weren't going to be denied tonight. And most importantly, and this is where I say that Garoppolo gave the 49ers exactly what they needed, he didn't turn the ball over. With this defense, the way that they play, if the quarterback just doesn't make boneheaded mistakes that give the other team points or put them in easy position to score points on their own, this team's going to win a lot of games. So for Garoppolo, it wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but it was exactly what the 49ers needed, and they come out of this game with a victory tonight. My second burning question that I had for this game was, can the 49ers get their run game back on track? And that's a big yes again. It wasn't a dominating performance, not even close, not anything like what we saw from the 49ers against the Rams in the regular season, either in the first game here at Levi Stadium or the second one at the end of the year down at SoFi Stadium. But they were able to come up with some big plays when needed, specifically Jeff Wilson Jr., and he made that first big play on the ground when he exploded through the left side of the Rams defense for a touchdown from 32 yards out to give San Francisco a 4-point lead. That was a really interesting play because the 49ers have shown that when they send a guy in motion and they run the toss that direction, it's usually going to be going outside. And they've been showing that throughout the first few weeks of the season. Tonight, they did that early on. They came back from that and gave that same look, but this time it was a designed run, more up inside. Everything about the play looked the same from the motion to the toss, except for the path of the running back. Instead of going all the way outside, cut that thing back up inside, hit that hole, and he was gone. The 49ers, they ran the ball only 22 times tonight, gained 88 yards. Wilson led the way, picking up 74 of those on 18 carries. Kyle Juszczyk had a couple of big plays. He had a long 35-yard completion. A couple plays later on that same possession, he had a 9-yard gain on a counter run. That was happening in the third quarter. And then Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuel added 5 yards on 3 attempts of their own in this game. Then you look at the 49ers offense as far as holding onto the ball, and this was really the biggest thing of the game. Again, talked about Garoppolo needing to hold on the ball, talked about how the 49ers offense needs to hold on the ball. There was a big resounding yes on that question. The 49ers improved to 13-3 since the start of last year in games in which the turnover margin is either tied or it favors them. Garoppolo, like I said earlier, missed a couple throws, didn't make the big mistake. The rest of the 49ers offense held onto the ball as well. And for the first time this season, the 49ers offense didn't put the ball on the ground, even though they haven't fumbled the ball away in every game. In the first three games of the season, they'd at least fumbled the ball and put it on the ground. For the 49ers tonight, the lone close call came on special teams. For the second consecutive week, Ray McCloud fumbled on a kick return. Last week, it was the punt return right at the end of the game they dropped. Tonight, it was a kickoff return right after the Rams made it 14-9. Fortunately for San Francisco, they were able to make the recovery in the offensive drive down the field for a field goal to put them up by 8 early in the fourth quarter. Excuse me. Can the 49ers defense force Matthew Stafford into mistakes? That was my fourth question. That was a big yes as well. I wrote prior to the game, Matthew Stafford usually gives opposing defenses an opportunity or two for a takeaway. Tonight was no exception, but it took until the fourth quarter. Following a missed field goal by Robbie Gould to keep it at only 8 points, Stafford moved the Rams offense all the way down to the 49ers 44. That's when Talanoa Hufanga struck. The safety, second-year safety, has been outstanding for the 49ers this year. This was his second interception of the season. Hufanga read the screen out to the right side. He read it perfectly, fired a shot, caught the ball, took the Stafford pass 52 yards in the other direction for a touchdown, and it blew the game wide open. Just a fantastic play by Hufanga. Hufanga is an interesting one because there were a lot of people who weren't sure of how he was going to play, and a lot of folks thought that the 49ers were going to really miss Jaquiski Tartt. I'll tell you what, they don't miss Jaquiski Tartt at all. The 49ers safeties last year accounted for 2 interceptions the entire season, and both those interceptions came in the same game against the Rams here on Monday night in week 10, I believe it was. Well, we're down to week 4, and Talanoa Hufanga already has 2 interceptions and a pick 6. Now remember, it took the 49ers all the way until week 10 before one of their safeties did that. On Monday night, the 49ers were stellar. I think, when I look at this team, the other part was, will the 49ers defense stay hot? That was my last question. That's yes, too. When I look at this team, I mentioned this during the game if you follow me on Twitter, this 49ers defense is the best that I've seen since 1994. They fly around the ball. They're explosive at every level. Off the defensive line, the linebacker level, and the secondary, these guys are stout. It's not just Deion Sanders making the difference like it was in 94. This is a team all the way through that has playmakers all over the place. On Monday night, they held the Rams to only 3.5 yards per play and became the first team in 2022 to keep Matthew Stafford from completing at least 70% of his pass attempts. Not only that, this 49ers team has held opponents to only 37 total points through the first 4 games. Now, that doesn't include the 9 points from the kick that was blocked, returned for a touchdown, or Jimmy Garoppolo's safety last week. But the defense alone, 37 points through the first 4 weeks of the season. They're averaging 9.25 points allowed per game. And over the last 3 games, the 49ers defense has allowed a total of 18 points. 0 against Seattle, 9 last week in Denver, and 9 here again tonight. The Rams had 4 drives. One of the things that was interesting is the Rams had 4 drives of 10 or more plays. But each time, the 49ers defense stood up when they needed to. San Francisco held Sean McVay's offense to a trio of field goals on the first 3 drives of those long ones, and Samson Ebukam forced Matthew Stafford fumble on the 4th to seal the victory. One of the things last week when we watched that game in Denver, the 49ers were able to force a ton of 3-and-outs. That wasn't the case tonight. They were on the field a lot more. But still, this was an outstanding game from the 49ers defense. And that pass rush made his presence felt once again, led by a pair of sacks from Ebukam and Nick Bosa. San Francisco tallied a total of 7 and hit Stafford 11 times. They also did an excellent job against the run, holding Los Angeles to only 3.2 yards per attempt. Now, let me take a look really quick and see what we've got in the comment section before I head out. We got James Foster over here. He says, hell yeah, what a game. It was. This was a fantastic effort from the 49ers here at Levi Stadium tonight. It was a close one, 17-9. You'd like to see the offense put a little bit more on the board in terms of points. But they didn't really have the ball that much tonight. The 49ers only had 49 offensive plays tonight. They only had the ball for 25 minutes of possession time to 35. This was all about the 49ers defense doing the job, keeping the Rams out of the end zone to force field goals, and about the 49ers offense not turning the ball over, and they made a few plays along the way. Thank you very much for that super chat, James. I really appreciate that. And then let's see real quick. Let me just go back from the beginning. The Shoot Mott, he says, hey, Jack, can't lie, it was a big team win. Absolutely. Huge win for the 49ers tonight. Huge team win. The defense played stellar. The offense made enough plays. Andrew wants me to go ahead and streak across the field. I guarantee you'll pick up 1,000 stars. I can probably make it because I don't see Bobby Wagner out there to tackle me. So I probably can make it if I just hop the little thing right here and take off running, right? Should I? That would have been fun, right? That'd be a good one. I don't know. I might be able to make it across. I'm pretty fast. You guys think I'm old and slow, but I'm pretty fast. I could probably make it across and up to the other side before anybody catches me, especially since there's nobody in the stadium and it's pretty much just me. I'd probably be okay, but I'm going to keep my clothes on. I'm not streaking. Let's see what else we've got. Mike Thompson looks like he missed Juice again. Also, Juice needs more touches. That's an interesting one. We'll have to see what that one looks like on the film. I thought that he missed it. I'm going to be honest. I'm sitting up in the press box and I hear, I see the play. I see the ball go to Debo. I kind of thought that was what the play call was going to be right there. My first reaction was that he has Juszczyk wide open. And part of my reaction in thinking that he had Juszczyk wide open is because Dante Whitner was sitting a few seats down from me. And that's what he was saying really loud. And it caught my attention. We'll have to take a look at that on film. It could have been one of those situations where the safety's got his eyes in the backfield, sees Samuel coming out, and sees the ball starting to get delivered, and he breaks on the ball, and that's why he's not paying attention to Juszczyk. Whereas if Garoppolo hadn't started to throw the ball already, he would have been right there in position to stop Juszczyk. So we'll see how that one looks on film. That was one that I put out on Twitter. I might have been wrong on that one, but he definitely missed the throw to Charlie Warner, and he had that throw to Juwan Jennings that he missed as well. A lot of Garoppolo's yards tonight come in on screens and those kind of plays, but he did have some really nice throws that first series. The second third down conversion, it was only a 12-yard. It was a 12-yard one to Jennings on the 3rd and 5. That was a really nice one because you could see he wanted to go to Debo Samuel on the deeper end. That was covered, and you could see him want to go there and then check back down, regather, reset, and throw the ball to Jennings. That was a really nice one. So, all in all, good performance by Jimmy Garoppolo. It was a good bounce back game for him. He still is who you thought he is, but didn't turn the ball over. Had a little scramble for 3 yards to pick up a first down, and that more than anything, picking up those third downs was really what helped the 49ers out early in this game. Moonman says, Jack, our cornerback was giving up lots of cushion. That's how Kupp got most of his catches. Hey, that's okay. Keep Kupp in front of you. Make the Rams drive all the way down the field. Get them into the red zone. Then play tight because now they don't have as much room to work. And that really worked out well for the 49ers. The Rams don't run the ball well, so when they get into the red zone, it gets really tight for them and constrictive. For the 49ers tonight, you saw those drives get down there, and then you saw them stiffen up. You saw some sacks occur from that point. You saw them get some blitzes in there on Stafford that forced him to throw some incompletions. It was, they gave up some yards to Cooper Kupp. This team, the Rams, it's Cooper Kupp and it's Tyler Higbee and it's Tyler Higbee. Everybody else, you can live with them touching the ball, but you need to stop Cooper Kupp and you need to stop Tyler Higbee. You stop those two guys and you shut the Rams down because they have nobody else that can make a play. They can't run the ball to save their lives. And they don't have any other receivers to threaten you. We went into this game. Remember before the game, I told you, watch Tyler Higbee. He's put up a lot of yak, and you saw that tonight. He was a chain mover. Him and Kupp. You shut those two guys. You let those two guys kind of work, but you get down in there and you start to play a little bit tougher. You can kind of do singles on those other guys, and you double team Kupp and Higbee, and you can shut them down. And that's what they did. They let them work their way down. And in some ways, the 49ers let the Rams do their work for them by just chewing up a lot of clock in this game, and then before they made their stops. It was a really, really, really solid performance by the 49ers defense tonight. And it's going to get better because they still have some other guys that are going to be coming back, right? They still have Jimmy Ward to come back to this thing too. Let's see what else we've got. Eric Gomes says Jimmy G 7-0 versus the Rams in the regular season. Absolutely. I put this out on Twitter earlier in the week. Jimmy Garoppolo 7-0 against the Rams. Matthew Stafford 1-6 in his career against the 49ers. Now, Matthew Stafford's had to play a lot tougher defenses in his time when he's had to play against the 49ers, with the exception of I think it was 2016. I think that's the only time he beat them was the Tom Sula team. But no, it's Garoppolo has dominated the Rams, and Matthew Stafford has struggled against the 49ers. Obviously, the 49ers defenses have been pretty damn good that Stafford's gone up against. But what we saw tonight is who Matthew Stafford is. He's going to make a lot of throws. He's going to give you a chance to beat him. And when he gives you that chance, you got to take it. And the 49ers took it a couple of times. One on the interception, one on the fumble. It was a big game for the 49ers. That would be a good one. I do need I need to see if there's a guy named Alan Wrench that can come out and join me. That'd be perfect. Thank you, Eric. That's a good one. But yeah, so it was a fantastic game overall for the 49ers. And then let's see, this is a good one right here, real quick. Mike Thompson comes in. He says, "What happens when Jimmy Ward comes back? Should he start?" Yes, Jimmy Ward should come back. If he's fully healthy and he's ready to go, he should start. But what happens is now with Jimmy Garoppolo and Tayshaun Gibson and Talon Hufanga, you have the ability to mix and match guys around. Jimmy Ward is really good in the slot against tight ends. Now imagine this game tonight with Jimmy Ward in the slot, manned up on Tyler Higbee, taking him away. Now it's the 49ers against Cooper Kupp. So the 49ers are going to get better. They're going to get Jimmy Ward back. He's going to be the starter, but he can slide down in the inside. One of the things in 2019 that you saw a lot from the 49ers was they would put three safeties in the game with Tarvarius Moore as the deep guy. They'd have Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward playing down in the box. Tarvarius Moore would be the single high safety. That's what the 49ers can do with this group. They could have Jimmy Ward and Talon Hufanga as your box guys, being able to man up, and then you have Tayshaun Gibson on the back end. This team has a lot of moving parts and a lot of pieces that they can mix and match. This thing's just getting started. If the offense doesn't screw this up, the 49ers are going to be 4-2 when they come back to Levi Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll see how this thing plays out from there. But that's when the season really starts. If the 49ers can win these next two, they're going to be 4-2. There's a lot of people when this season started, when they put their predictions out, said the 49ers would be 4-2 after 6 games. Nobody expected it to get there with losses to Chicago. But if they can get to 4-2, they're right on track to get to that 11-12 win mark. This was a huge win for the 49ers leading into a tough road game. I say tough because it's a short week. I'm already feeling it because I'm going to be back up here on Wednesday for practice. I can, and then they've got to fly out to Carolina for that game. That's what makes it tough, is that flight. I know it's going to be against Carolina, who is a team that the 49ers should be able to dominate, but this is going to be a tough week for them logistically to get this thing rolling. And I'm not even tired. I'm not even sore from the game. I'm just a little tired because I'm an old man who's been up since 5:30 this morning. Just want to see really quick if there's any other. James Foster, 7 sacks total for the defense. Absolutely. He also says even Ridgeway got a sack tonight. Yep. A sack there as well. This was just a solid all-around effort from the 49ers defense tonight. Hard to say that, you can't really put it beyond that. So just a really good performance overall. Let's see if there's any last ones before we've got Andrew says, I predict the 49ers will get Rule fired. Hey, you might be onto something there, because Matt Rule What is it about these college coaches that put up big points in college? They come to the NFL and they really struggle. So we'll see what happens. Good win for the 49ers tonight, though. I want to say thank you to everybody that joined me at 10:30 at night to talk a little bit of 49er football. I got a 2-hour drive ahead of me, so I'm going to hit the road. But if you guys can do me a favor before you leave tonight, hit that like button for me. And then if you are watching this and you're already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me as well. And then also get yourselves over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. Check out the post-game write-up over there. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday night. I'll be back tomorrow with a couple of shows to talk 49er football with you. Take care, everybody.